The training grounds always woke before the sun. Metal clashed, boots thudded against frozen dirt, and breath fogged in uneven bursts. I kept to the far fence, stacking fresh wraps for the fighters, pretending the cold biting my fingers mattered more than the dull throb beneath my ribs. My wolf paced there every morning, restless but caged. If this story resonated with you, please subscribe to the channel, like it, spread the word, and tell us where you're watching from. Like she remembered something I kept forgetting on purpose. Leora! Finn's voice cracked across the yard. You missed one. He lifted a hand, holding up a roll I'd dropped earlier. His grin was crooked, too bright for this hour. I walked over and plucked it from his palm. Maybe don't sprint like a newborn deer next time. You kicked half the supplies into the mud. He laughed, rubbing a smear of dirt from his cheek. Finn trained harder than anyone, though his rank was still uncertain. Too soft-hearted, Reyna always muttered. Too easily distracted. But he watched people, really watched, something most wolves never bothered learning. Today, though, his gaze kept flicking over my shoulder. What? I asked. He swallowed. Don't turn around, just Alpha's brother is back. My stomach tightened. Cade, the ghost name everyone avoided unless they wanted trouble. He'd vanished months ago without explanation, returned last night with even less warning. Some called him reckless, others dangerous. The truth was more complicated, everyone sensed it, no one spoke it. Finn leaned closer. He's staring directly at you. I didn't want to look. Trouble always knew my scent before I knew its shape. But curiosity tugged harder than caution, and I let my eyes lift. Cade stood at the edge of the sparring circle, arms crossed, the morning wind pulling at his dark hair. He hadn't changed as much as the rumors claimed. Still sharp-edged, still carrying that quiet storm around him. His wolf pressed close to the surface. Anyone could feel the heat rolling off him. And he was looking at me like we'd met before. I stepped back without meaning to. My heels scraped the dirt, loud enough to draw Reyna's attention from across the yard. She strode over in 3 long steps. Problem? She asked, her tone clipped. No, I answered quickly. Just finishing the wraps. Reyna's eyes narrowed in a way that said she didn't believe a word. She was the Alpha's enforcer, all muscle and instinct, and the closest thing I had to a reluctant mentor. She didn't trust easily, especially not me, especially not anyone tied to Cade by proximity. Cade moved then, not toward Reyna, not toward Finn, straight to me. Leora! My name caught in his throat like he hadn't used it in years. I braced myself. Wolves didn't usually say my name with that kind of weight. My role here was simple. Stay quiet, stay helpful, stay forgettable. But he stepped closer anyway, stopping a breath away. The air shifted. Not dramatic, not obvious, just a subtle change in the way scent moved between us. Warm cedar brushed the edge of my senses, threaded with something metallic, something fierce. His brows drew together. Do I know you? No. The word slipped out sharper than intended. My wolf surged beneath my skin, brushing against his presence like she wanted more. Panic rose instantly, fast, cold, unwelcome. Not now, not here. Reyna moved between us. Training starts in 5, she snapped. If you're not sparring, step aside. Cade didn't budge at first. His gaze searched my face, almost questioning, almost confused. Then he exhaled slowly and stepped back, jaw shifting like he was working through something only he could hear. Finn tugged my sleeve. You okay? You look like you swallowed a thorn. I'm fine. But my voice trembled at the edges. My wolf pressed harder, whispering things I hadn't heard from her in years. Danger, recognition, want, all tangled together. Across the yard, Cade's gaze returned to me again. And something inside me, long muted and heavily buried, pushed once, sharp enough to steal the breath from my lungs. Leora, he called quietly. We need to talk. His tone wasn't a request. It was the beginning of something I wasn't ready to name. I didn't follow Cade immediately. That would have looked too much like obedience, and wolves notice things like that. Instead, I finished stacking the last of the wraps, smoothing the frayed edges just to give my pulse time to settle. Reyna watched me the whole time, her arms folded, her stance loose but ready, always ready. If he pulls you aside alone, she murmured, keeping her voice low enough that the others wouldn't hear, don't let him corner you, he's unpredictable. I'm aware, I answered. Not aware enough, she countered. He's been off since he came back. He listens like someone expecting ambush. Her gaze slid toward him. And the council is already circling. Those words chilled me more than the morning frost. The council never circled without a target. Cade stood near the old rack of practice blades, running a thumb over the worn leather handles as if reminding himself of their weight. He didn't look impatient, he looked conflicted. Wolves rarely hesitated when they wanted something. Cade hesitated now. Maybe that should have comforted me. It didn't. Finn broke the tension by nudging my elbow. If Raina murders him, I call dibs on his jacket. A dry laugh escaped me. Finn's humor always came at the wrong time, which somehow made it land exactly when needed. Raina pointed toward the center of the grounds. Warm-up drills, go! Finn sprinted ahead, already fumbling with his gloves. I followed slower, but Cade stepped into my path before I could blend into the group. Walk with me, he said. I glanced at Raina. Her jaw flexed once and she stepped back just enough to give permission without liking it. Cade led me toward the tree line, not far enough to raise suspicion, but far enough that the chatter of the fighters softened. The scent of pine thickened, grounding but sharp. He didn't speak right away. His wolf lurked close, pressing at the surface. Wolves didn't usually mask their presence. His felt deliberately restrained. Finally, he asked, "Why does your wolf react to me?" I stiffened. "She doesn't." He gave a short, humorless breath. "Leora, when I walked past you earlier, your aura jolted so hard my wolf snapped to attention. That doesn't happen for no reason." Aura. He used the old term only wolves with strong instincts bothered with. It wasn't visible, it was something felt, like the brush of breath against the back of your neck. I forced my expression steady. "Maybe your wolf's just out of practice." His eyes narrowed. "Don't deflect, something's wrong. I can sense it." I stepped back, letting my fingers brush the ridged bark of a cedar trunk behind me. "Maybe you're imagining it." He moved closer, not touching, not crowding, but focused in that unnerving way that stripped away excuses. "I don't imagine instinct." The wind carried his scent to me again, storm warm, edged with tension. My wolf rose up sharply, pressing against my ribs like she wanted to tear through them to get closer. I grabbed the tree trunk to steady myself before he noticed. But he noticed everything. "You're hiding something," he said quietly. It wasn't accusation, it was certainty. "And you're not," I countered. A flicker crossed his expression, not guilt, not anger, something heavier. "I didn't come back to cause trouble." "No one ever does," I muttered. His gaze dropped briefly to my hands. Noticing the tight grip, he asked, "Does my presence hurt you?" The honesty in his tone threw me off balance. Wolves rarely soften their voices like that unless speaking to someone they cared deeply for, or someone their wolf recognized. "I'm fine," I replied. But even to my ears, the words sounded like a thin shield. Cade exhaled slowly, frustration simmering under the controlled breath. "I need to understand why my wolf keeps pushing me toward you. It's reacting, and I don't know why." My heart jerked once, a painful, misplaced beat. Before I could answer, Raina's sharp whistle cut across the grounds. "Cade." Training circle, now. He didn't move right away. His focus stayed locked on me, intense and unyielding. "This isn't finished," he said. Then he stepped back, letting the distance stretch but not sever. As he walked away, my wolf whispered again, not words, not reason, just a primal tug I thought I'd buried 2 years ago. Something old was waking. And it had chosen him. Cade joined the sparring circle, but his attention kept sliding back to me between movements. It wasn't obvious, not the sort of stare that announced itself, but a subtle shift of focus, the way a wolf checks the perimeter without meaning to. His movements were sharp today, more forceful than the morning called for. Whoever he paired with barely lasted seconds before being knocked flat. Raina noticed. She clicked her tongue. "He's hunting ghosts again." "Is that what this looks like?" I asked. "That's what it always looks like when a wolf won't admit what's bothering him," she replied. "And he's been running from something since the minute he came back." Before I could answer, Marin stepped into view. The beta carried calm like armor, steady posture, clean movements, eyes that tracked everything. Today, though, even he looked tense. "Leora," he said, nodding toward me. "Walk with me a moment." Raina raised a brow. "She's supposed to assist on drills." "She'll return before they end," Marin said, voice quiet but unquestionable. Raina didn't argue further. I followed Marin to the far edge of the training grounds where the grass grew tall enough to muffle footsteps. He didn't waste time. "Has Cade spoken to you?" he asked. "Yes." "Did he ask anything unusual?" I hesitated. "He asked why my wolf reacts to him." Marin slowed. "And does she?" The truth pressed hot beneath my ribs. Lying to a beta wasn't dangerous because they punished dishonesty. It was dangerous because they could hear the difference between truth and evasion. "She's restless," I said. Restless was safer than honest. Marin's jaw tightened slightly. "The elders will take note of that." "Why? Wolves react to each other all the time." "Not like this," he replied. "Cade's wolf hasn't responded to anyone in months, not even the alpha, but the second he saw you," his gaze flicked toward the circle. "Something shifted." The phrase pricked my nerves. It was too close to something I didn't dare name. I kept my expression steady. Maybe it's nothing. Nothing doesn't draw council attention, he said. And they're already uneasy with Cade's return, which meant I was now tied to a storm I had spent years staying beneath. Before I could ask more, a sharp cry from the sparring circle cut through the air. Wolves rushed into a loose half-ring. Marin and I returned quickly. Cade stood at the center, chest rising with controlled breaths. Across from him, a young warrior, Torin, clutched his shoulder, wincing. That was excessive, Reyna snapped, stepping between them. Torin held up a hand. I'm fine. He caught my guard dropping. You weren't supposed to be trying to break his bones, she growled at Cade. Cade didn't answer. His eyes flickered, just once burning with an intensity that wasn't entirely his. His wolf pressed too close. Reyna lowered her voice. You lose control during drills, you sit out. Cade ignored her and looked past everyone else. Straight at me. My chest tightened, not from fear, but from the weight of something I wasn't ready to examine. My wolf's claws scraped against the inside of my mind, urgent and sharp. Cade stepped toward me before Reyna could block him. He stopped an arm's length away. Come with me, he said, quieter than before but no less firm. I shook my head. Not now. I don't have time to wait. His voice wasn't harsh, it was strained, like he was trying to hold something back. Reyna's patience thinned. Cade, he didn't look away from me. Something's happening, Leora, and you feel it too. The world narrowed for a heartbeat, not because of him, but because my wolf pushed so hard I had to brace my hand against my thigh to stay grounded. No, I whispered. He stepped closer. Leora, a horn blasted from the North Ridge, sharp, urgent, unmistakable. A border alarm, everything stilled. Wolves froze mid-step. Marin's eyes snapped to the tree line. Reyna became all steel. Positions now, move. The pack erupted into motion. Cade didn't follow immediately. He leaned in, voice roughened by something deeper than instinct. This conversation isn't over. Then he shifted, not fully, but enough to ripple energy through the air, and sprinted toward the ridge with the others. I stayed rooted for one last breath. My wolf pressed at the inside of my skin. Run, not toward safety, toward him. The forest thinned as I reached the North Ridge, the crisp scent of frost cut through with iron, fresh and unsettling. Wolves rushed past me in staggered formation, each movement disciplined despite the urgency. A border alarm wasn't common. An alarm at dawn was worse. Reyna stopped at the crest, assessing the terrain below. Keep behind me, she said without looking back. I didn't argue. She was the only one who could stand between reckless wolves and outright chaos. Marin arrived seconds later, signaling the patrols into a wide arc. Tracks head straight toward the ravine, he reported, touching 2 fingers to the soil. Heavy stride, whoever crossed wasn't hiding their presence. My stomach tightened. Wolves who wanted to be found rarely came in peace. Cade broke through the tree line next, still half-charged with leftover energy from the run. His boots hit the earth with a force that sent a tremor through the brittle ground. He scanned the ridge, gaze landing on me instantly. You shouldn't be this close, he said. I wasn't planning on joining a hunt, I replied. His expression hardened, not angry, more like he was wrestling with something he hadn't figured out how to name. He angled his body slightly, positioning himself between me and the open forest without making it obvious. Reyna noticed, her eyes thinned. She said nothing, but her silence carried more threat than most wolves shouting. A sharp, wavering cry cut through the woods. Not a threat roar, something weaker, broken. The patrols tensed. Cade's shoulders lifted, then stilled. Injured wolf, he muttered. Close. Reyna pulled 2 scouts forward. I lead, Cade take the flank, Marin hold the ridge. Cade didn't move. Reyna snapped, you hear me? I did, he answered, but his focus stayed locked on the ravine below. Something in his posture sharpened, like a memory scraped across a nerve. Then he exhaled and followed the scouts. Marin nudged my arm. Stay near, if this is what I think it is, you're not wandering off. What do you think it is? I asked. His silence gave the answer. We descended the slope carefully, boots sliding over loose gravel. The cold deepened the farther we went, shadows between the pines swallowing color and sound. A metallic tang grew stronger, the unmistakable scent of blood. Then I saw the body. A wolf, large, mottled fur streaked with grime slumped against a fallen log. His breaths came in rough bursts, each one rattling through his chest. A dark arrow jutted from his side, fletching torn. Reyna crouched first. Not one of ours. No, Cade murmured, stepping closer. But I've seen those markings. My pulse hit a strange rhythm. The wolf's flank bore a faint symbol, 3 broken lines almost invisible beneath dried mud. I knew that mark. I'd seen it branded onto skin in a place I never spoke of. Memories flashed, running barefoot through ash, my mother shouting from behind a burning wall, a howl cut short too suddenly. A trembling breath escaped the injured wolf. His head lifted, eyes glassy, unfocused. Then they snapped to me with startling clarity. "You," he rasped. "You survived." My muscles locked. Marin's hand hovered near my arm, not touching but ready. Raina stood abruptly. "He knows her." Cade's attention whipped toward me. His voice lowered, stripped of his usual restraint. "Leora, why would he say that?" The injured wolf coughed, blood dripping from his muzzle. He forced out one more line, barely audible. "They're coming for the girl who escaped the purge." Cade stepped toward me, closing the distance faster than thought. "Leora," he said, tone roughened. What did he mean? But the question was what shook me. It was the look in his eyes. He already feared he knew the answer. The wounded wolf's breathing thinned until each inhale scraped like something tearing. Raina crouched beside him again, expression hardening as she examined the arrow. The metal glinted dully, silver laced enough to poison but not kill instantly. Whoever shot it wanted their target to reach us. A message, a deliberate one. Raina yanked a cloth from her belt and pressed it to the wound. "Hold still." The wolf wheezed a laugh. "Bit late for that." His voice held a rough cadence I recognized too well. Wolves from the borderlands carried a certain gravel, the kind forged in places without pack protection. Places like the enclave I'd fled. Cade stepped closer, scanning the area. "Trail's fresh. Whoever attacked him is still nearby." Marin motioned 2 patrol wolves forward. "Fan out, quietly." The patrol split as silently as the wind. But Cade didn't look away from me, not even as we waited for the scouts to disappear into the trees. "Leora," he said, voice controlled, "why would he know you?" I shook my head, but his eyes didn't let me dodge the question. They stayed steady, focused, almost too searching. "I don't know him," I answered. "I swear." Cade didn't move, but something in his posture shifted, concern, suspicion, instinct all tangled together. His wolf pressed close enough that the air felt heavier. Raina cut in sharply. "Question her later. Right now we get him out." The injured wolf coughed again, his eyes flicking toward me with a flicker of something like recognition or regret. "Thought they killed all of you," he rasped. "Didn't expect anyone left." My skin prickled. The trees around us blurred for a moment, replaced by flickers of broken memory, smoke, a cold night, hands pushing me toward the river, someone whispering run. I forced the images back down. Raina and Marin moved to lift him. When Cade reached for the wolf's other side, the outsider jerked violently away. "Not you," he growled. Cade froze. "Why?" The wolf's gaze sharpened for a heartbeat. "Your scent carries the same shadow." As pain seized him mid-sentence. His body trembled, ribs heaving against Raina's hold. Cade's jaw set, but he stepped back without protest. That alone told me how unsettled he was. Marin gave a short nod. "We carry him to the med station. Leora, stay behind me." I followed, though my legs felt stiff, as if the weight of old truths was dragging them. Cade walked at my side, close enough that the warmth of him curled around my arm. He didn't touch me, he didn't have to. His presence was unnervingly steady and equally unsettling. "You reacted to what he said," Cade murmured. "More than anyone here." My breath hitched before I could hide it. "Anyone would react to being called out by a dying wolf." "That's not what I saw." He slowed his steps just enough to look at me fully. "There's history there, Leora, whether you want to admit it or not." My fingers curled at my sides. "Drop it." For a moment, neither of us moved. Wind stirred the pine needles overhead, scattering brittle fragments across the path. Cade's expression tightened, but not in anger. Worry edged the corners of his eyes, muted but undeniable. "Secrets don't keep people safe," he said softly. "They just give danger more room to grow." My lungs constricted. He had no idea how true that was. Before I could respond, Raina called out ahead, "Both of you move, he's fading." We quickened our pace. The med cabin came into view through a break in the trees. Smoke curled faintly from its chimney, warmth waiting inside, the kind desperate wolves clung to. But as Raina pushed the door open, the injured wolf grabbed my wrist with startling strength. His claws grazed my skin, not enough to break it, but enough to make my pulse jolt. "Listen," he gasped. "You're marked, they'll track you, no matter what name you use." Cade's growl rumbled low behind me, not threatening the wolf, but triggered by fear he didn't know how to voice. Raina tore the wolf's hand away. "Save your breath." But the dying wolf wasn't finished. His gaze locked on mine, fierce and fading all at once. "They didn't stop hunting your bloodline," he choked. "And they know you're alive." Cade's head jerked toward me. My world narrowed to the space between his stare and the truth I could no longer outrun. The med cabin door shut behind us with a dull thud. sealing out the cold and the smell of blood-soaked earth. Heat from the wall furnace wrapped the air in a thick herbal warmth. Something sharp and minty simmered in a pot, likely to help the healers focus. The contrast made my skin prickle. Raina guided the wounded wolf to a mat, her movements efficient and unyielding. "Hold him steady." Marin knelt at the wolf's opposite side, bracing a forearm across his shoulders. The wolf's breaths came in sudden stutters now, each one dragging lower than the last. He wasn't going to last long. Cade hovered near the doorway at first, as though unsure if stepping further in would make things worse. His wolf pressed close enough that the lines of his silhouette almost sharpened. I felt the pull of that presence like a low hum against my spine. Raina didn't look up from the arrow as she said, "Leora, get gauze from the shelf, the sealed pack." My legs moved before my thoughts caught up. I pulled down the bundle wrapped in white cloth. My hands stayed steady, but that steadiness felt borrowed, like my body was pretending not to shake. The outsider wolf's gaze followed me. His eyes dimmed and flared again, fighting to stay open. "You were a child," he rasped. "Small enough to hide in a drain pipe. We searched for days." Cade strode forward instantly. "Enough. She doesn't owe you anything." The wolf's lip twitched pain or defiance, I couldn't tell. "I'm not here to blame her, I'm here to warn her." Raina snapped the shaft of the arrow cleanly. The crack echoed through the cabin. A sharp moan escaped the wolf, fading into a rasp. "Talk fast," she said. "You don't have long." He wet his mouth with a trembling tongue. "The ones who started the purge, they never stopped. They spread north, formed cells, hunting for the bloodline they missed." Cade's voice dropped into a darker register. "Who leads them now?" The wolf shuddered. "A woman masked, crescent scar on her throat. He stopped suddenly, blinking slow. "She said the girl would resurface, said she had a wolf too rare to stay hidden." A thin sheen of warmth flushed behind my eyes. My wolf prowled just beneath the surface, unsettled, pacing. Marin glanced at me briefly, expression unreadable. "Why come here? Why cross our border knowing it would kill you?" The wolf swallowed, throat working visibly. "Because she sent trackers south. They followed a scent, a trail of suppressed power." His gaze pinned me again. "Yours." Cade stepped closer to me, a subtle angle of his body shifting protectively. He probably didn't realize he'd done it. Raina's movement slowed. For a moment, her hardened composure cracked around the edges. "You mean to tell me someone knows Leora exists, knows exactly who she is?" "Yes," the wolf whispered. "They know she lived." A thin rattle left his lungs. Marin pressed tighter, trying to keep him anchored, but the wolf's body slumped under his weight. Raina tore open the gauze but stopped halfway. Her shoulders fell just slightly. It was too late. Within seconds, the body on the mat went still. Cade exhaled sharply and dragged a hand through his hair, something frustrated and broken threading through his breath. "Damn it!" Raina stood, eyes closing for a brief moment of respect. "We'll burn him before sunset." "Marin, prepare a report for the Alpha." Marin rose, wiping his palms on his pants. "The council will demand involvement." Cade's reaction was immediate, a subtle tightening across shoulders, a flicker in his stare that revealed real dread. "They'll try to pin his arrival on me." Raina's expression darkened. "They've been looking for a reason since you came back." Their voices blurred for a moment. The world felt smaller, the room too warm, too quiet around the edges. The wolf's final words looped in my head. "They know you lived." Cade noticed my stillness first. He approached slowly, not touching, but close enough that the heat from him broke through my numbness. "Leora," he murmured, low and rough, "there's more you're not telling us." I met his eyes. I didn't answer. Outside, a horn rang across the territory, short, sharp, carrying through the pines. A summons. Marin stiffened. "That's the Elder's call," Raina swore under her breath. "They know something happened." Cade looked at me, jaw tight. "This is where things get dangerous," he said, and I knew he wasn't talking about the Elders. The Elder's horn echoed again, one sharp blast, then a low rumble that vibrated through the tree trunks. Summons like that weren't optional. They clawed at the nerves of every wolf within hearing distance, yanking instincts toward obedience. Raina was already marching toward the path. "Move, all of you." Marin followed with tightened strides, counting off patrol members before they dispersed. Cade didn't move right away. He lingered near the med cabin door, eyes fixed on the faint trail of blood the outsider had left behind. The air around him felt charged, subtle but noticeable. His wolf was pressing too close. Even the temperature seemed to dip around his stillness. "Cade." Raina didn't raise her voice, but the tone was a warning. He finally tore his eyes from the ground and looked at me. "You're walking with me." My pulse stumbled. "Raina told me to stay behind her." Raina glanced back. "She did, but the Elders didn't summon Leora. They summoned anyone who touched the wounded wolf or heard anything unusual. Her gaze grew pointed. That includes both of you. My breath tightened. No escape, not even the illusion of it. Cade stepped forward, closing the gap beside me. Let's go. We followed the narrow trail toward the heart of the territory. Snowmelt dripped from branches overhead, tapping faint rhythms against bark. The path grew steeper the deeper we went, winding through rows of carved stones, old markers of wolves long gone. The scent of pine thickened until it felt like walking through memory itself. Cade walked half a step ahead, his shoulders drawn with a tension that tightened each time the wind shifted. Every so often, he glanced back at me quick, assessing, as though making sure I was still there. "You're quiet," he said when Raina and Marin moved out of earshot. "You want me to chat on the way to a council summons." "That's not what I meant," he slowed a fraction. "Your breathing changed back there when he talked about the purge." My fingers twitched at my sides. A dying wolf saying dramatic things is hardly new. "Leora." His voice softened in a way that struck a nerve. "You're not as difficult to read as you think." "That's because you're looking too hard," I shot back. He didn't deny it. We emerged into a clearing shaped like a natural amphitheater. The elders stood in a tight formation beneath the stone arch, 3 of them, draped in long coats stitched with old symbols. Elder Rowan stood at the center. My pulse leapt painfully. Rowan's presence always made the air colder, not by magic, just by the weight of the things he never said out loud. Marin approached him first. "We recovered an injured outsider near the ravine. He died before we could question him." Rowan's gaze flicked across each of us, sharp as a blade. "So I've been told." His attention landed on Cade next. "You were first on scene." Cade gave a curt nod. "Raina and Marin took lead. I followed protocol." Rowan's eyes narrowed slightly, as if measuring the honesty in that. "And the outsider spoke." I felt my spine stiffen. Cade didn't look at me, but the air between us tightened. "He said enough," Cade answered. Rowan stepped closer, his boots crunching softly over frost. "Enough for what?" Cade's jaw worked once. "His injuries were deliberate. Someone wanted him to reach our lands." Rowan hummed, low and dissatisfied. "A convenient claim," Raina bristled. "Are you accusing us of fabricating evidence?" "I'm suggesting," Rowan said with forced calm, "that the timing of Cade's return and the sudden appearance of a dying stranger is notable." My stomach knotted. This wasn't about the outsider. This was about Cade, always had been. Marin cut in, voice clipped. "The wolf also recognized Leora." Every elder head turned. My breath caught too sharp, too visible. Rowan's stare pinned me. "Is that true?" Cade stepped in front of me without hesitation. "If you have questions, ask me." Rowan smiled faintly, humorless. "Oh, I will." His gaze slid to me again, colder this time. "But first, I want her alone." Cade's entire stance changed, tightening, grounding, preparing for a fight he wasn't allowed to start. "Cade," Rowan said, "stand down." Cade didn't move, not an inch. Rowan's eyes darkened, not magically, but with something far more dangerous. "Your wolf is showing," he warned. Cade didn't blink. "Then stop provoking it." Raina stepped between them. "Enough, Rowan, you question her with us present. She's pack, she's under our authority." Rowan's jaw tightened, but he nodded once. "For now." His gaze flicked to me one last time. "Speak carefully, Leora. Wolves have died for less." A chill crawled up my spine. And Cade moved just close enough that his hand brushed mine. Accidental or deliberate, I couldn't tell. But his voice reached me in a low, steady whisper meant for me alone. "I'm not letting them corner you." Rowan led us toward a narrow stone alcove at the edge of the clearing, an old council meeting point carved into the hillside. The walls were high enough to muffle sound, low enough that no wolf could shift fully inside. Designed for containment, not comfort. Marin and Raina took positions on either side of the entrance. Cade moved to stand with them, but Rowan lifted a hand. "Only she enters." Cade's muscles tensed so sharply I heard the seam of his jacket strain. "No," Rowan gave him a thin smile. "That wasn't a request." Raina cleared her throat in warning. "Rowan, she's a pack member," Rowan cut in. "Not a prisoner. A brief conversation will determine whether there is cause for concern. Nothing more." The lie was smooth enough to anger me. Didn't even bother pretending otherwise. Cade stepped forward, blocking Rowan's path. "If she goes in, I stay in." Rowan's expression didn't crack, but I saw something flicker under the surface, annoyance, maybe something darker. "Your wolf is unstable," he murmured. "Crowded spaces don't suit you right now." The words hit like a quiet blow. Cade didn't flinch, but his silence said the hit landed somewhere close to bone. Marin intervened before either could escalate. "Cade stands by the door." "Leora is never out of sight. That's final." Rowan's jaw flexed. For a breath, the air thinned between them, then he gave a slow nod. Very well. He turned to me. Inside. I stepped into the alcove. The walls pressed in, rough stone brushing my shoulders. The space smelled like cold minerals and old decisions. Cade lingered at the threshold, eyes locked on me with an expression I couldn't read, something protective, something strained. Rowan remained a few paces away, hands clasped behind his back. His posture was deceptively calm. Tell me precisely what the outsider said to you, he began. I kept my voice even. He said someone was chasing him. And he recognized me. Rowan tilted his head. Unusual. He was delirious, I replied. Wounded wolves say things they do mean. Rowan studied my face, his gaze too steady. Did you know him? No. His eyes narrowed, not because he believed me, but because he couldn't prove otherwise. And yet he reacted to you, directly. I didn't respond. Rowan closed the distance by a step. Your wolf stirred when he spoke. I felt it from where I stood. My throat tightened. I didn't trust my voice enough to answer. Rowan's tone softened, not kind, just quieter. You've kept a low profile since entering the pack. Barely shift, avoid conflict, keep your scent muted. Why? I lifted my chin. Not everyone thrives in the center of the room. A convenient excuse, he murmured. But power doesn't hide without reason. Cade let out a low growl from the entrance, not loud, but unmistakably warning. Rowan didn't turn. Control your wolf, Cade. Cade's reply was a low, steady burn. Stop provoking her. Rowan's attention returned to me. Tell me the truth, Leora. Where did you come from before joining us? A pressure built behind my sternum, sharp and tight. I forced my breath slow. A small settlement, South Ridge. It's gone now. Gone, Rowan repeated. How convenient again. My hand curled into a fist. Believe what you want. Rowan stepped closer, close enough that I saw the faint scar near his temple, an old one, nearly invisible unless you stood within striking distance. A wolf from the borderlands doesn't recognize a stranger, he said softly. He recognizes blood, heritage, legacy. My heart gave an uneven kick. You carry something you're not speaking of, Rowan continued. Something important, dangerous, perhaps. Behind him, Cade shifted his stance, weight leaning forward like he was ready to tear Rowan away from me. Rowan turned slightly, giving Cade a cold smile. Touch me, and you'll prove the council right about your instability. Cade's eyes darkened, not in color but intent. Rowan faced me again. I want an answer. Why did that wolf call you the one who lived? My lungs froze. He'd heard every word. Before I could shape a response, a soft sound escaped me, not a gasp, not words, just a tight, involuntary exhale that betrayed how deeply the question hit. Rowan's expression sharpened. There it is, he murmured. A truth you've tried to bury. He took a final step closer. Tell me what you survived. Cade's voice cut through the alcove like a blade. She doesn't owe you that. Rowan didn't react to Cade's interruption at first. His attention stayed pinned to me, sharp enough to feel like he was peeling back layers I'd spent years sealing shut. The air in the alcove thickened, not from heat, but from the quiet threat of something breaking loose. I stepped backward, not far, just enough to reclaim the space between us. Rowan tracked the movement. You don't decide what she owes, he told Cade without looking at him. Cade's reply came roughened, his control fraying at the edges. You're not dragging her through this to satisfy your paranoia. Rowan finally turned. His tone stayed dangerously calm. Paranoia keeps packs alive. Reyna and Marin shifted at the doorway, uneasy. Their weight moved differently, not out of fear but readiness. If either Rowan or Cade snapped, they needed to choose sides in an instant. My pulse climbed, not in panic, but because the air carried the faint metallic tang of rising aggression. Wolves responded to that scent instinctively. Even unshifted, instincts sharpened. Done answering riddles, I said, steadier than I felt. If you're going to accuse me, then do it plainly. Rowan faced me again. Very well, I believe you know why the outsider recognized you. I believe whatever happened in the South Ridge wasn't a tragedy you merely escaped. His eyes searched mine. It was something you were at the center of. A flicker of old smoke and broken timber hit the back of my memory so fast I nearly stumbled. The echo of shouting, a flash of teeth, fire lighting snow orange. Too many bodies, too much quiet afterward. No, not here, Cade noticed. He stepped forward, positioning himself slightly in front of me, not shielding, anchoring. Rowan watched every detail. Interesting, he murmured. A low rumble came from Cade's chest, not a growl, more the first warning of one. Reyna's gaze snapped to him. If you shift in here, we'll have to sedate you. Cade didn't look away from Rowan. Then stop cornering her. I corner truth, Rowan said. What she hides is not small. His words scraped something raw inside me. I swallowed. If I were a danger, you'd sense it. Rowan shook his head. Not always. Some threats don't broadcast themselves. His voice lowered. Some learn to bury their scent until the exact moment they strike. Cade stepped closer to him. Choose your next words carefully. Rowan's calm finally cracked, just a hairline fracture. You think you're warning me? If she's tied to South Ridge, she's tied to a massacre. Marin stiffened. Raina's breath hitched. Even the wind outside paused. The word massacre ricocheted through my ribs like a blunt strike. My voice came out soft but edged. You don't know anything about that place. Rowan kept his gaze level. Then tell me. My fingers twitched, an old reflex from a time when decisions had to be made fast without thinking. My wolf pushed up against my skin, not in panic but in resistance. Cade turned, his attention snapping to me when he felt the shift in my breath. Leora. Just my name, grounded steady. A lifeline, not a command. I took it. Rowan exhaled, frustrated. The outsider isn't dying. When he wakes, he'll talk, and whatever he reveals, his gaze flicked between us, will dictate the council's next move. He stepped away, leaving the alcove with clipped strides. Marin followed him, hesitant. Raina lingered, worry softening her usual composure. If either of you notice changes in the injured wolf's behavior, she said quietly, tell me first, before Rowan. Her eyes met mine. Some truths need gentler handling. Then she left. Only Cade and I remained in the narrow stone room. He didn't touch me. He just stood close enough that I could feel the steadiness returning to his breathing. You don't have to tell me, he said. I looked at the stone floor, then at him. It won't stay buried. He nodded once. Then tell me when you choose, not when Rowan demands it. For the first time since the border attack, a thin thread of warmth threaded through my chest, unsteady but real. But the moment didn't last long. A howl split the valley, short, sharp, unmistakably urgent. Cade and I exchanged a glance. Raina's voice rang out from outside. He's awake! The outsider wolf, the one who knew my past, was no longer unconscious. And he was calling for me. The howl carried across the valley, raw and ragged, sharp enough to slice through the forest canopy. I froze, pulse jerking as though the sound had hooked directly into my chest. The wolf's voice wasn't just calling. It was naming me, summoning something I had tried for years to bury. Cade's hand hovered near mine, steady and anchored. Stay here, he said, though the growl beneath his words betrayed his own wolf. He wasn't planning to obey. I can't just stay, I said, tension curling up my spine. My wolf stirred at the edges, claws itching beneath skin, senses straining toward the sound. It wasn't just the voice. It was the scent woven into it, blood, fear, desperation, and recognition. Raina appeared at the alcove entrance, shoulders squared. If you move too far without me, it's your head, she warned, though her tone carried more caution than threat. He's alive, yes, but you have no idea what else he's carrying. I swallowed hard. I know enough. He called me the one who survived. Her jaw clenched. Then you know why the council will react when they see him awake. And if they notice your bond, your scent, they won't care about rules. Cade's eyes narrowed. Let me escort her. Raina shot him a glare sharp enough to cut stone. I don't care about your instincts, Cade. You follow my lead, or you're in for a very long lecture from the elders. He exhaled, tension rippling through him. Fine, for now. The three of us descended the narrow path toward the med cabin. Every snap of twig and rustle of leaves sent my senses spinning. The world felt too large, too loud, yet impossibly still. My wolf throbbed beneath my ribs, aware of danger I couldn't yet see. When we arrived, the cabin door had swung open. The outsider wolf leaned against the wall, head lifting lazily, eyes glassy but aware. His breaths were shallow, but his gaze locked on me instantly, recognition sharp as a knife. You, he rasped. Alive. Yes, I said, stepping closer. The floorboards groaned beneath my boots. The smell of dried blood mixed with faint cedar smoke from the cabin hearth. My fingers curled, ready, cautious. Cade hovered near the doorway, jaw tight, wolf rumbling low in his chest. He didn't step forward, but the space between us contracted with every second. His wolf pressed closer, an invisible shield of heat and intent. The outsider wolf lifted a paw, weakly, blood crusting along the edges. They're coming, he breathed. For you, you have to, his voice hitched. They won't stop until. He trailed off, eyes flickering between fear and recognition. The last part, unstated, hanging like smoke in the room, was enough to make my stomach twist. Raina stepped forward suddenly. Enough, he's stable for now. We'll extract what we need safely. Move back, Leora. I hesitated. My wolf snarled low in protest, instinct screaming. I could feel every heartbeat in the room, every subtle shift of air, every scent marking the outsider's lingering fear. Cade's hand brushed my arm, not as touch but as anchor. "Listen to me," he murmured, voice low, roughened. "We go in controlled, one step at a time, you don't rush, you survive." The outsider wolf's eyes burned into mine again, and I realized the full weight of his warning. He hadn't just survived his injuries, he had come alive to mark me, to warn me. And if I didn't act, the consequences would be immediate, brutal, and unavoidable. I nodded once, letting the tension coil inside me. "Okay," I whispered. "Let's see what he knows." Cade's wolf growled low, almost approving. The air shifted, anticipation pressing down. Outside, the wind rose, carrying hints of smoke, frost, and something far darker, a shadow moving faster than sight. And I knew, without needing to hear it, that whatever came next would change everything. The outsider wolf's chest rose and fell rapidly, each breath shallow, uneven. His head tilted as if tracking some invisible pulse between us. When he tried to rise, his legs buckled, and he let out a rough, involuntary growl. I stepped closer, moving slowly. Every instinct screamed caution. His scent was sharp now, danger laced with familiarity and something else. Something that pricked the edges of memory I had buried long ago. Cade's presence at my side was a constant weight. He didn't touch me, but I felt the pull of him, a tether to the ground when the room threatened to tilt beneath the outsider's intensity. His wolf hummed low in his chest, restless, ears flicking toward the doorway. "Stay still," I murmured, though my own voice betrayed tension. "You're safe for now." The wolf's eyes glimmered, hazel streaked with gold. Recognition flickered across his features, but so did pain. His words stumbled, cut short by a gasp. "You survived. You weren't supposed to," my pulse hitched. My wolf growled faintly in warning, nostrils flaring. The air between us was alive with unspoken truths, with names I could not yet speak aloud. Raina stepped forward, hands open but cautious. "We stabilize him first, extract information second." Her eyes flicked at Cade, sharp and commanding. "And control your wolf, he doesn't need a fight." Cade's jaw tightened. "He needs to tell us everything." Raina ignored him. "Step back, you're clouding the room." I swallowed, stepping aside, letting her take the lead. The outsider's gaze shifted to me again, intensity pressing against my ribs. "They know," he rasped. "They've been tracking your scent for years. You've been marked since before you even remembered." The words landed heavy. My throat went dry. My wolf stirred, claws scraping beneath the surface. I could feel the pulse of the cabin, floorboards faintly vibrating, the furnace ticking, the subtle hiss of the wind through the cracks. Cade exhaled sharply, his breath warm against my ear. "Tell me exactly what he means," he said low, not a demand but a tether to reality. The wolf let out a rasping laugh, a bitter, broken sound. "Markings not physical, not like claiming, but scent, bond, signature, they'll feel it the moment you shift fully, and they're close." Raina's eyes narrowed. "Close, how close?" "Too close," he croaked. Pain laced the words, but so did urgency. "They are cells, hidden, watching, waiting for you to make a move. They won't stop at anyone else, they'll come for you directly." Every nerve in my body tensed. My wolf pushed harder, circling beneath my ribs, sharpening claws, grinding teeth, the primal awareness flooding every nerve ending. Cade's hand brushed mine again, not to hold, not yet, but to steady. I didn't pull back. He didn't need to say anything, the message was clear, I was not facing this alone. The outsider's gaze flicked between us, hazel gold burning with finality. "You have limited time." Before anyone could respond, the cabin door rattled violently. Outside, the wind carried a scent so sharp it made my stomach churn, metallic, iron-heavy, danger approaching faster than instinct alone could track. Raina's hand shot toward the doorway, fingers splayed. "They're here!" Cade's wolf growled deep, rolling up his spine like a coil ready to spring. My wolf mirrored him, alert, hungry, protective. The outsider wolf let out a weak, gurgling snarl. "Run!" I blinked. His message wasn't just a warning, it was a command. And the first shadow of movement pressed against the frosted window pane. The window rattled again, closer this time. Frost skated across the glass in jagged streaks as a shadow shifted outside. Not one, multiple. The scent hit first. Foreign wolves, masked, calculating, trained to hunt. My wolf screamed beneath my skin, claws scraping invisibly at my ribs. Cade's stance changed instantly. He dropped slightly into a crouch, coiling his body like a spring, eyes narrowing. The low growl in his chest was a rumble of warning, not threat. "Stay behind me," he said, voice low, measured, but every word carried authority. My wolf snarled agreement, pressing closer to his heat. Raina's hand went to the door latch. We can't hold them if they break in. Leora, move. I obeyed instinctively, stepping behind Cade, letting him anchor me as the outside shadow shifted again. The wind pushed through the cracks in the cabin, carrying a whisper of metallic scent, blades, teeth. I couldn't tell yet, only that danger had teeth, claws, and intent. The outsider wolf stirred weakly, coughing, head tilting up. They know you're here, you have seconds. His voice faltered, ragged, each word a struggle. They won't negotiate. Cade's hand brushed my arm briefly, not holding, not protective, a tether, a warning. We'll handle this, he murmured, low enough only I could hear. I felt my pulse tighten, lungs constricting, heart lurching, not with fear exactly, but with recognition. This was no ordinary attack. My wolf circled beneath my ribs, ears flicking, sensing movement beyond sight. Every hair on my arms rose, every nerve humming with anticipation. The cabin door shuddered violently under a push from outside. Raina's fingers splayed on the latch, teeth gritted. Marin moved silently behind her, eyes sharp. They were ready, trained, but even their confidence couldn't mask tension. I inhaled. My wolf stirred violently, claws scraping beneath my skin, tail thrashing unseen. My senses were alive with their presence. Scent, movement, intent. They weren't just coming for the outsider, they were coming for me. The first figure slipped through the shadows of the doorway, a lean wolf, eyes masked, scent coated in suppression. Cade shifted slightly, revealing a glimpse of silver at his wrist, the marking of a full shift ready. His growl deepened, a rumble rolling through the floorboards, vibrating through me. I didn't think. I reacted. My wolf surged forward, claws pressed beneath my skin, teeth bared inside my jaw. The instinct was raw, immediate, sharpened by years of survival, unpracticed but alive. Cade intercepted before I could step fully forward, body moving like liquid steel. His wolf pressed against mine, a tether, a barrier, a shared pulse. The first masked attacker froze, scent hitting him like a wall, confusion flickering through the posture. Outside, the wind carried more of them. Shadows leapt between trees, silent, disciplined, lethal. The frost crunched beneath the first feet crossing the snow, a signal that the fight was no longer avoidable. I felt my pulse snap into a rhythm I couldn't ignore, fast, dangerous, alive. The outsider wolf coughed again, eyes straining to see. Run, survive! His whisper barely carried over the growls. I locked eyes with Cade. He didn't smile. He didn't hesitate. His wolf coiled, ready to strike, mirroring my own surge of instinct. The cabin door shuddered again, this time with purpose, as the first shadow pressed fully into the threshold. And then everything snapped. The cabin door splintered inward with a deafening crack. Frosted shards tumbled to the floor as the first masked wolf slipped inside, low crouched, teeth bared, every muscle honed to strike. The metallic scent of blades and tension swept through the room, mingling with the copper tang of old blood. Cade moved first, swift, fluid, a tethered storm. His wolf pressed close to mine, energy coiled tightly beneath his skin. I felt the vibration in the floor, in the air, as if the space itself responded to him. Back! He barked, voice low but fierce. My wolf surged, claws scraping beneath my ribs, ready, restrained only by Cade's proximity. The masked attacker lunged, body twisting in midair, but Cade intercepted with a turn of his wrist, and a shift of weight so precise it would have been graceful if not lethal. The wolf's momentum snapped, stumbling just enough to by a fraction of a second. I inhaled sharply, senses sharp, instincts screaming. One step forward, a lean motion, and my wolf pressed, claws scraping invisibly. Teeth clenched, body taut, ready to strike, but I kept my motion contained, focused. Another shadow moved through the doorway, fluid and silent. Raina stepped aside, allowing me a narrow line of sight. Leora, she said, voice tight. Now, don't hesitate. I didn't. My wolf surged. Low growl rolled through me, echoing from the soles of my feet to the tips of my ears. The first masked attacker stumbled back, eyes widening, sent recoiling as if hit by something more than flesh. Cade's hand brushed mine, anchor, warning, tether, then he moved to intercept the second shadow. Silver glinted briefly at his wrist, a mark of his readiness to shift fully. His eyes never left mine, warning me. Stay steady, survive, don't panic. The outsider wolf coughed weakly from his mat, struggling to rise. He barely lifted his head, but his hazel gold eyes locked on me, recognition sharp as a knife. Run, protect! I let the instinct simmer, just under the surface, controlled enough to act but free enough to feel the pulse of power rising. The masked wolves hesitated, unaccustomed to the presence of a hidden force in the room. The hesitation was all I needed. A third shadow moved silently behind the first two, aiming straight for the outsider. Reflex took over. My hands shot forward, pushing the wolf down as I dropped low. Cade intercepted the third attacker instantly, body coiling, wolf energy pressing outward like an invisible shield. The room vibrated with the friction of presence, the predator tension of wolves, unshifted but fully aware, instincts brushing against instincts. Even Raina's normally unflappable composure flickered as she measured the danger. The first wolf stumbled back into the splintered doorframe. Frost flakes from the broken wood clung to its fur. Its head tilted slightly, confusion, surprise, hesitation. My wolf surged again, claws pressing beneath my skin, ready to respond to the scent of threat. Cade's eyes darkened, not in anger, but in a predator's focus. "They underestimated you," he murmured, low, nearly inaudible, but it felt like a lifeline threaded directly into my chest. My lungs burned from controlled breathing, heart hammering, not in panic, but in alignment with the tension pressing against every nerve ending. Outside, more movement stirred, faint crunching of snow and shadows shifting between trees. I realized sharply that this wasn't a simple attack. They weren't here for me alone. They were testing, marking, probing for weakness. And if I faltered, the consequences would be immediate. The outsider wolf's gaze followed mine. Weak, ragged, but alive. He whispered hoarsely, "Survive or all." Before I could react, the cabin door rattled again. This time the sound carried intent. Something or someone was coming faster than the others. Cade's hand found my shoulder, firm, grounding. His wolf pressed against mine, warning, promise, tether. "Stay with me," he said, voice low, controlled, anchored. I nodded, muscles coiling, instincts roaring. The storm was only beginning. And outside, a new shadow emerged, larger than the rest. Bigger. Faster. Far closer than any of us anticipated. The larger shadow slammed against the cabin wall, wood groaning under the impact. Frost and splinters showered the floor, glinting like scattered glass. My wolf snarled, claws pressing beneath my skin, teeth gritting in anticipation. Every sense screamed the presence wasn't human. It was something sharper, faster, deliberate. Cade stepped forward, body low, a predator coiled to strike. His wolf pulsed beneath his skin, vibrating through him like a tightly wound spring. The tension between us was a tether, grounding me even as instinct screamed to leap. Raina and Marin flanked the doorway, eyes wide, breaths tight. "This one's not playing," Raina muttered under her breath, shifting weight. Her fingers twitched near her dagger, ready, precise. I let the instinct rise, not entirely under my control. My claws pressed invisibly at my ribs, every muscle taut, ears straining for the faintest movement. The larger shadow didn't hesitate. Its eyes glimmered gold in the fractured light, teeth bared, paws barely touching the frost-laden floor. "Focus," Cade murmured low just for me. His hand brushed mine briefly, not a hold but a connection. A lifeline. My wolf hummed in agreement, coiling, ready to explode. The outsider wolf let out a rough, rasping cough, attempting to lift himself from the floor. "It's faster, stronger, careful." His hazel gold eyes burned into mine, pleading and warning all at once. The large wolf lunged, sleek and precise, aiming straight for the outsider. Cade shifted instantly, intercepting with a fluid turn, body twisting with the rhythm of predator and protector intertwined. I felt the push of his wolf against mine, a silent command. Stay ready but controlled. I moved in tandem, claws scraping beneath the surface of skin, teeth clenched. My senses expanded, tasting the frost and metal tang of blades, feeling the movement of air around the predator, registering every shift in weight, every subtle exhale. The first masked wolves hesitated, sniffing the tension, unsure whether to press forward. The room thrummed with energy, a convergence of instincts too sharp for casual reckoning. Raina's voice cut through, clipped and urgent. "Leora, now, don't wait," I surged, controlled but fierce. My wolf pressed outward, a wall of presence that slammed against the advancing masked wolves. The first staggered, sent recoiling as if the air itself had teeth. The large wolf snarled, gold eyes narrowing. Cade's growl deepened, rolling through the floorboards, matching mine, coiling around the intruder. Our wolves were synchronized, instinct and experience woven into a silent but lethal rhythm. The outsider wolf pushed himself upright, trembling but focused. "They're testing you faster than anyone else." His warning hung, ragged, in the cold air. I narrowed my eyes. I didn't need more instruction. I let instinct guide the motion. Step, shift weight, claws ready but restrained. The intruder's golden eyes met mine, calculating, measuring. A crash echoed from the cabin wall as one masked wolf was thrown off balance by the synchronized force of our presence. The larger wolf's lunge was delayed, uncertainty flickering across its eyes for the first time. Cade's voice came low, a tether beneath the chaos. "Hold your focus. Do not overcommit. Watch me." I nodded almost imperceptibly, wolf pressing, claws ready, heart pounding not with fear but pure, raw awareness. Outside, the wind shifted. Shadows raced closer, the crunch of snow signaling reinforcements. And the first figure in the snowstorm moved with purpose, larger, faster, more lethal than any before. I knew sharply that the battle had only begun. The cabin trembled again, heavier this time, the sound of snapping wood echoing off the frost-coated walls. The larger wolf barreled through, momentum unstoppable, muscles rippling beneath fur that gleamed like iron in the fractured light. My wolf surged in tandem, claws pressing, teeth clenched, muscles taut beneath my skin. Cade pivoted with precise timing, intercepting the first masked attacker. His silver-marked wrist flashed as his hand struck, a controlled force that sent the intruder staggering back. The large wolf hesitated for a heartbeat, eyes flicking between us, calculating, misjudging the intensity of our combined presence. "Now!" Raina barked, voice sharp, cutting the tension. Her stance was taut, ready, fingers brushing against the hilt of her blade. Marin mirrored her, eyes scanning the flanks, prepared for any unseen threat. I lunged, letting instinct guide me, controlled yet full of power I hadn't fully claimed before. Claws pressed beneath my skin, shifting the air around me, wolf energy coiling and pressing outward. The intruder staggered, sent recoiling as my presence hit, a wall of instinct that wasn't entirely mine but ours, Cade's and mine interwoven. Cade's wolf pressed against mine, tethering, controlling, balancing. He didn't speak, but his pulse, his energy was enough. My body moved, coiled, reacted. Every second stretched, sharpened, stretched again. The outsider wolf coughed, struggling upright. "You. Survive stronger." His voice was hoarse, but recognition shone in hazel gold eyes, urging me forward. "They not ready." I shifted slightly, careful not to overcommit, letting my wolf read the enemy's moves. The larger intruder lunged again, faster this time, teeth bared, eyes gold, intent clear. My claws brushed the air, teeth clenched beneath my jaw, senses alive. The tension between predator and prey hung thick, every motion magnified. Cade intercepted again, twisting, shifting, his body a weapon, his wolf coiled and dangerous. "Hold your ground," he murmured low, voice vibrating against my spine. "Do not let them break the line." I exhaled, muscles taut. My wolf pressed outward, a surge of instinct barely restrained, forcing the first intruder back. A second masked figure tried to flank us, but Raina moved first, dagger flashing, slicing a line that sent the wolf stumbling backward. Outside, the snow rustled with more shadows, additional reinforcements, circling, testing, waiting for a weakness. The wind carried the scent of iron and intent, every shift in the air announcing movement before the eyes could register it. The large intruder hesitated, muscles flexing, eyes narrowing, sent recoiling. And I realized the advantage. We weren't just defending, we were forcing them to calculate, to hesitate. Cade's hand brushed mine, grounding, tethering, urging control. My claws retracted slightly, teeth unclenching just enough to breathe. The wolf hummed beneath my skin, coiling in anticipation, aware of every motion. The outsider wolf coughed again, lifting his head just enough to meet my gaze. "They underestimated you now." His words trailed off ragged, but the meaning was clear. The tide was shifting. A shadow moved faster than the rest, leaping into the clearing outside. Larger, closer, and more deliberate than anything we had faced so far. Its presence pressed into the cabin, bending the air with sheer predatory force. Cade's wolf coiled, mine mirrored, instinct and training aligned. My pulse quickened, not from fear but from recognition. This was not the end of the attack. It was only the beginning. The larger shadow snarled, teeth glinting, eyes locked on me. I met it, wolf and human both ready, every instinct screaming. Survival, control, claim. And then, with a crash that shook the frost from the cabin walls, it lunged. The shadow hit the cabin wall with a bone-shaking impact, splintering frost-coated wood. My wolf surged beneath my skin, claws pressing, teeth clenched, senses screaming in perfect synchronization. Every hair on my arms lifted, ears flicking, eyes tracking motion invisible to human sight. Cade moved first, pivoting with predatory precision, intercepting the lunge before it could reach the outsider. His silver-marked wrist caught the light, flashing like a blade in motion, but the movement was smooth, controlled, and deadly. My wolf mirrored his instinct, coiling, ready to spring. "Stay behind me!" Cade's low command vibrated through the room, not just words but a tether to the chaos. My body moved in response, muscles taut, pulse aligning with his. Raina and Marin flanked the doorway, eyes sharp, hands near weapons. Their stance was practiced, balanced, prepared for every angle. But the shadow outside wasn't just one. It was bigger, faster, unpredictable. The outsider wolf coughed again, struggling upright, head lifting just enough to meet my gaze. His hazel gold eyes burned with urgency. "Survive claim or all." His words broke off, hoarse but loaded with warning. I inhaled sharply, tasting the copper tang of blood, the frost on the floor, the tension curling like smoke in the cabin. My wolf surged, claws pressing beneath skin, muscles coiling. A large shadow scent hit me fully. Predatory, lethal, deliberate. Recognition prickled at the edges of memory, warning me that this was no ordinary intruder. Cade intercepted the first masked wolf moving to flank the outsider, twisting fluidly, wolf energy pressing outward like a controlled tide. I felt the vibration of his presence beneath my ribs, a pulse anchoring my own surge. I lunged forward, instinct guiding each step. My claws pressed subtly, enough to influence without overcommitting. The masked wolf stumbled, air pressed from its lungs, scent recoiling at the pressure of my wolf. Raina's voice cut sharply. "Leora, control it, don't let instinct overtake you." My pulse thrummed, controlled chaos dancing along every nerve. My eyes met Cade's, his wolf coiled beside mine, anchoring, tempering the surge of power threatening to overwhelm me. Outside, movement shifted, the wind carrying the crunch of snow and shadowed figures weaving through the trees. More reinforcements. Faster. Trained. Calculating. The large intruder lunged again, teeth glinting in the fractured light. My wolf hummed beneath my skin, coiling, ready to respond instantly. Cade intercepted with a twist, muscles rippling, wolf energy pressing outward like a barrier. The outsider wolf coughed again, voice raspy. "They underestimated her." His hazel gold gaze sharpened. "Now it begins." A figure larger than the others pressed into the threshold of the cabin. Its eyes, gold and cold, locked on me with deliberate focus. My muscles tensed, instincts flaring, claws beneath skin, teeth clenched. Cade's hand brushed mine, not holding, just grounding. "Focus," he murmured, wolf humming in harmony with mine. "Control, survive, don't falter." I nodded, wolf coiling, every sense alive, every heartbeat sharpened. The larger shadow crouched, ready to spring again, teeth glinting, body coiled like a living weapon. I inhaled, letting instinct rise, not panic, not fear, but sharpened awareness, coiled power. The cabin trembled with tension, the wind whispering danger through splintered wood. And then, with a single, explosive motion, the intruder lunged straight at me. The intruder hit the cabin floor with the force of a hurricane, splintering wood scattering across the frost-coated floorboards. My wolf surged violently beneath my skin, claws pressing, teeth clenched, every nerve taut with anticipation. I could feel the air vibrating with intent, raw power pressing against instinct. Cade moved with lethal precision, pivoting between the intruder and the outsider wolf. His silver-marked wrist glinted in the fractured light as he shifted weight, intercepting with a twist that sent the attacker stumbling backward. My wolf coiled, energy syncing with his, pressuring the intruder from another angle. "Stay with me," Cade murmured, low, tethering me. His wolf pressed against mine, anchoring, controlling, balancing the surge inside me that threatened to overwhelm reason. Raina darted forward, dagger slicing a line that sent the first masked wolf staggering back. Marin mirrored her, eyes scanning, muscles taut, ready to intercept anything slipping past. The room thrummed with tension, predator against predator, instincts brushing against instincts. The outsider wolf let out a low, rasping cough, head lifting slightly. "Faster, stronger, she's ready." His hazel gold eyes, though weakened, burned with recognition and warning. They won't hold back," I inhaled sharply, tasting frost and iron in the air. My wolf pressed outward beneath the skin, energy coiling, muscles taut. Every motion, every flick of attention was precise. The larger intruder lunged again, faster, more deliberate, eyes cold gold and calculating. I shifted weight, letting instinct guide my muscles. My claws pressed subtly, a force without full motion enough to disrupt the intruder's balance. The predator hesitated, sent recoiling slightly, giving me the fraction of time I needed to react. Cade twisted to intercept a second masked figure, muscles rippling with precision. Don't overcommit, he muttered, voice low, nearly drowned by the growls and scuffs. Control. Survive. I exhaled slowly, wolf coiling, readying, heart hammering, not with fear but with raw awareness. The cabin felt alive with predator energy, tension pressing against every wall, every splintered floorboard vibrating with intent. The intruder staggered from my subtle interference, snapping its head toward Cade and me. My wolf pressed further, claws subtly digging beneath the surface, teeth clenched, senses fully expanded. It hesitated just for a heartbeat, but in that moment I recognized the advantage. Outside, the wind shifted. Shadows moved faster, crunching snow, signaling more reinforcements, calculating, circling. They were testing us, measuring, hunting for a weakness. The outsider wolf coughed, voice ragged. She's stronger than they expected now. His eyes held recognition, warning, and a hint of hope. The larger intruder's muscles tensed again, eyes narrowing, scent flaring against the wave of energy from both Cade and me. Every instinct screamed. This was the true test. The predator had acknowledged the threat and would strike with everything it had. Cade's hand brushed mine, not to hold but to tether. Focus, he whispered. Control the surge, don't falter. I nodded, wolf coiling beneath my skin, claws ready, senses expanded. The intruder crouched, body primed, gold eyes locked on me with lethal intent. And then, in a single, explosive motion, it lunged again, faster, sharper, closer than ever before. The cabin shook under the force of the intruder's strike. Splinters flew like shards of ice, scratching at my skin, my hair, my wolf's instincts screaming in tandem with every vibration. My muscles coiled, claws pressing invisibly beneath my skin, teeth clenched, senses expanding in every direction. Cade moved first, pivoting to intercept the intruder's momentum. Silver-marked wrist flashing, body coiled like liquid steel. His wolf pressed against mine. A tether, a pulse, a rhythm I could follow without thinking. Reyna and Marin circled, weapons ready, every muscle tuned to intercept any misstep. The masked wolves hesitated, sensing the rising force, the combined pressure of predator energy we were emitting. The outsider wolf let out a strained rasp, struggling upright. She's stronger than they imagined, survive now. His hazel gold eyes, though weak, burned with warning and recognition. I inhaled, lungs filling with frost-touched air. The scent of blood, snow, and predator filled the cabin. My wolf surged, pressing outward, coiling like a spring, responding instinctively to the intruder's every twitch, every subtle shift in balance. The large intruder lunged again, teeth bared, muscles tensing. I shifted, claws pressing, wolf coiling beneath my skin. Timing, instinct, precision. The predator stumbled slightly, my interference subtle but effective. Cade intercepted a masked wolf moving to flank us. His growl deepened, rolling through the floorboards, harmonizing with mine. The wolves hesitated, a wall of predator energy pressing against them from both sides. I exhaled slowly, wolf coiling tighter, energy thrumming beneath the surface. The larger intruder froze for a fraction of a second, golden eyes flicking between Cade and me, calculating, measuring, assessing strength. Outside, movement shifted. Snow rustled under approaching feet, reinforcements, circling, testing. The wind carried the scent of metal and intent, sharp and clear. Each gust pushed through the splintered wood, carrying warnings we could feel in our bones. The outsider wolf coughed, voice raspy. They underestimated her, stronger than expected. His gaze met mine, urgency and hope tangled in hazel gold. Cade's hand brushed mine, not holding, just grounding. Focus, he murmured, wolf coiled and ready. Control. Survive. Don't falter. My pulse tightened, muscles tensing, every sense alert. The intruder crouched, ready to strike with full force. I inhaled, wolf surging beneath my skin, claws pressing, senses extending beyond vision. The first masked wolf darted forward, testing, measuring. I reacted instantly, coiling, stepping with precision, pressing a subtle force that threw it off balance. The intruder hesitated, tension flickering across its gold-flecked eyes. Cade's growl rolled low, vibrating through the floor, warning and anchor all at once. My wolf mirrored him, pressing outward, ready for the next strike, sensing every micro-movement in the cabin. The larger intruder leapt again, faster, closer, aiming straight at me with teeth bared. My claws pressed, my wolf coiled, muscles tensed, every motion primed to meet the oncoming force. And just before impact, the air snapped with a low, resonating growl, different, older, heavier. From outside the cabin, a new presence pressed against the walls, scent sharp, powerful, and familiar. Something or someone even more dangerous than before was arriving. The cabin trembled with the arrival of something heavier, larger, older. Snow and wind whipped against the walls, rattling the splintered wood as if the forest itself were warning us. My wolf surged beneath my skin, claws pressing invisibly, teeth clenched. The instinct wasn't just to fight, it was to measure, to calculate, to survive. Cade stepped forward, body low, eyes narrowing. His wolf coiled beside mine, pulse vibrating through the floorboards, anchoring me even as my own instincts threatened to explode into uncontrolled force. "Focus," he muttered under his breath. Not a warning, but a tether. I mirrored him, wolf pressing outward, senses stretching to catch every motion in the cabin. Reyna's dagger flashed, Marin's fists poised. Their movements were precise, measured, but tension was undeniable. None of us had encountered a presence like this before. The air itself vibrated with predatory intent. The outsider wolf coughed, weak but rising slightly, eyes burning hazel gold with urgency. They know the claims, stronger than expected, survive." His words trailed off, ragged, but each syllable carried a warning none of us could ignore. Outside, the snow shifted. Shadows moved with calculated purpose, crunching lightly in the frozen underbrush. The new arrival wasn't subtle. Its scent, metallic and ancient, rolled through the cabin, brushing past our nostrils, pressing against the inside of our lungs. I inhaled sharply, wolf coiling tighter beneath my skin, claws pressing, muscles ready. Every sense honed, hearing the subtle scrape of paw against frost, tasting the metallic tang of snow on the air, seeing movement even in the fractured light. Cade's hand brushed mine, brief, grounding, tethering. "Do not falter," he murmured. "This one is not like the others." My heart thrummed, not with fear, but with an awareness that this battle was no longer about survival alone. The intruder's presence carried history, hierarchy, authority. I could feel it in my bones, in my wolf's pulse. The large shadow pressed closer, leaping over the broken threshold with a fluid grace that defied its size. Gold eyes glimmered, calculating, assessing, predatory. Its scent was undeniable, older than the masked wolves outside, tempered with discipline, dominance, and raw, lethal power. Cade's wolf pressed against mine, coiling with mirrored intensity. "Watch it," he murmured, voice low. "It's testing, not attacking yet." My pulse tightened, muscles tensing. My wolf hummed, aware, hungry, coiled for the inevitable clash. Every instinct screamed, this was a force unlike any we'd faced, and it was sizing me up, measuring my potential, my threat. The outsider wolf coughed again, voice rasping. "If it claims, wrong all." His words hung, incomplete, a warning threaded with dread. I inhaled, lungs burning with controlled effort. Frosted air filled the cabin, biting against my throat, pressing into the tension that already bristled from every wall. The large predator shifted slightly, body coiling, gold eyes locking on me. Its growl rolled through the cabin, low, heavy, authoritative, a sound older and sharper than any we had heard. And in that moment I understood, this was no ordinary test. This was the challenge I had been unknowingly waiting for, the one that would determine survival, dominance, and the unspoken bond already weaving between Cade and me. The cabin fell silent for a heartbeat, every instinct frozen, every movement a taut string, ready to snap. And then the predator moved. The predator moved with impossible grace, limbs coiling and releasing like springs. Its claws scraped lightly against the frost-flecked floor, yet the vibration it carried through the cabin felt heavy, measured, controlled. My wolf surged, muscles coiling beneath skin, claws pressing invisibly, ready for the moment when instinct would demand release. Cade stepped forward, low stance, jaw tightening. His silver-marked wrist glinted in the fractured light, a promise and a weapon combined. "Stay close," he murmured, voice just enough to anchor me without breaking the rhythm of the tension. His wolf pressed against mine, a tether, guiding, restraining, warning. Reyna and Marin flanked the doorway, their movements precise, eyes scanning. Even they felt it, the difference in energy, the dominance in the predator's scent. "It's not one of the Council S," Reyna whispered, voice taut. "I've smelled elders, betas, even rogue alphas. This is something else." I inhaled sharply, tasting the copper tang of blood lingering from previous skirmishes, the frost biting at my throat. Every nerve screamed in synchronization with my wolf. The predator was sizing me up, measuring, testing. I could feel it in the weight of the air, the vibration underfoot, the subtle shift of shadows. The outsider wolf coughed, voice ragged but eyes sharp. "If it chooses, wrong you all." His warning was fragmented, but heavy with implication. Recognition and fear laced his tone. He knew this predator, or something like it, and its consequences. My muscles coiled further, claws pressing beneath my skin, teeth clenched, instincts humming. Cade's gaze never left mine, wolf pressing, warning, tethering, coiling in harmony with my own. "Focus! Move with me," he murmured. "Do not falter." The predator crouched, gold eyes glinting in the fractured light. Its growl was low, authoritative, rolling through the cabin, pressing against the walls, against the floor, against our very bones. Not an attack yet, but a warning, a test, a challenge that spoke of hierarchy older than any of us had encountered. I shifted weight, wolf coiling, claws pressing subtly. My pulse matched Cade's, mirrored in perfect rhythm. The first masked wolf outside shuffled forward, testing. The predator's head flicked toward it, a single motion sharp enough to make the intruder hesitate, submission trembling on the edge of instinct. I exhaled, muscles tight, senses stretched beyond vision. Every movement, every shift, every breath carried weight, meaning, and consequence. Outside, the wind carried shadows, reinforcements circling, listening, waiting for weakness. Cade's hand brushed mine, grounding, tethering, a silent reminder. Survival required control, not fury. "Watch it," he murmured low. "It's testing you, don't show weakness." I nodded almost imperceptibly, wolf pressing outward, claws ready, muscles coiled. The predator shifted its stance, tail flicking subtly, head tilting, gold eyes narrowing. Its growl rolled through again, heavier, resonant, as though evaluating not just my strength, but my will, my claim, and the bond forming between Cade and me. The outsider wolf let out a faint, rasping whistle of warning. "It chooses or destroys, do not," the predator lunged, slower than expected, calculated, deliberate. The cabin seemed to shrink around us. Every breath, every movement, every heartbeat counted. Survival depended not on strength alone, but precision, instinct, and timing. And in that frozen moment, I understood. The next second would define everything: dominance, survival, and the unspoken bond that Cade and I had been building through fire, frost, and instinct. The predator's claws brushed the floor. Time narrowed. And then it struck. The predator struck with precision, claws scraping against frost-slicked floorboards. Splintered wood sprayed, biting against skin, teeth, and fur. My wolf surged violently beneath my skin, coiling like a spring ready to release. Every nerve, every instinct screamed with heightened awareness. Cade moved instantly, pivoting, intercepting, his silver-marked wrist flashing in the fractured light. He pressed against my wolf, anchor, tether, control, balancing the surge threatening to overwhelm me. "Stay close," he growled low, almost a vibration I felt through the floor. The large predator adjusted mid-lunge, muscles shifting like liquid steel. Gold eyes locked on mine, calculating, measuring every fraction of movement, every subtle twitch in my claws, every flick of instinct. My pulse matched Cade's, synchronized wolf humming beneath skin in anticipation. Raina darted forward, dagger cutting through the air, forcing a masked wolf to stumble backward. Marin mirrored her movements, eyes scanning the flanks, muscles taut, ready for anything that slipped past. Even they sensed it. This presence was unlike any we had faced, older, disciplined, dominant. The outsider wolf struggled upright, breath rasping. It tests, not attacks, yet stronger than they feared. His hazel gold eyes burned with recognition and warning, head tilting toward the predator. "If claim wrong all," I inhaled sharply, tasting frost and metal in the air. My wolf surged outward, claws pressing beneath my skin, muscles taut. Every motion deliberate, controlled, measured. The predator lunged again, faster, sharper, intent clear. Cade intercepted mid-motion, twisting fluidly, wolf energy pressing outward. The predator hesitated for the briefest moment, startled by the synchronized presence. My wolf mirrored Cade's rhythm, pressing with coiled precision, creating a subtle but effective pushback. The masked wolves outside froze, sniffing, sensing the tide of energy shifting. The larger predator's growl rolled low, resonant, carrying authority and dominance, measuring, evaluating. Its tail flicked, body coiling, eyes narrowing. This wasn't just a fight, it was an assessment, a test of strength, control, and instinct. My pulse tightened. Every sense expanded. The scrape of claws, the metallic tang of air, the vibration of splintered floorboards. I could feel the predator reading me, calculating my potential, my reaction, my bond with Cade. Cade's hand brushed mine, brief, grounding, anchoring. "Focus," he whispered, wolf coiling in harmony with mine. "Do not falter." The predator lunged again, deliberate, precise, faster than instinct alone should allow. My wolf coiled, muscles ready, claws pressing beneath skin, teeth clenched. I met it wolf and human aligned, timing every movement, responding to the slightest shift, every twitch. Outside, snow rustled, reinforcements circling, testing, waiting for the slightest weakness. The outsider wolf let out a rasping hiss, warning and encouragement tangled in one fragile sound. The predator's claws touched the floor, preparing another strike. Time contracted. The cabin felt impossibly small, the air thick with energy, anticipation, and the scent of predation. I inhaled, coiling fully, wolf surging in readiness. The next second would define survival, dominance, and the unspoken claim weaving between Cade and me. And then everything froze. Before the predator struck again, gold eyes locking with mine, unblinking, unreadable, every muscle primed for lethal precision. The predator paused mid-lunge, gold eyes locking with mine. Frosted air hissed around the cabin as if the forest itself held its breath. My wolf surged beneath my skin, coiling tight, muscles ready to react, claws pressing invisibly. Every nerve screamed awareness, timing, precision, survival. Cade stepped beside me, body low, movement taut as a wire. His wolf pressed against mine, coiling, tethering, anchoring the surge inside me. "Do not show weakness," he murmured, voice low, vibrating against the floor. "Read it, anticipate it." Reyna's dagger flashed as a masked wolf stumbled near the doorway. Marin shifted, scanning for any flank movement. Both of them sensed it, the presence pressing against the cabin wasn't ordinary. Older, disciplined, dominant. Even the wind seemed to bend around it. The outsider wolf coughed, voice hoarse but eyes bright. It recognizes, strength, tests, claim. His gaze flicked between me and the predator. "If wrong move, all," I inhaled sharply, wolf coiling further beneath my skin. The scent of frost and iron filled my nostrils. My pulse synced with Cade's, our movements mirrored, instinct guiding, precision controlling the surge. Every microsecond mattered. The predator shifted slightly, tail flicking, muscles tensing. Its growl rolled low, resonant, stretching through the floorboards, vibrating into every corner of the cabin. Not an attack yet, but a warning and assessment. Cade's hand brushed mine briefly, a grounding tether. "Focus," he murmured. "Every second counts, do not falter." I nodded almost imperceptibly. Wolf pressed outward, claws beneath skin, senses sharp. The first masked wolf outside tested the line. The predator's head flicked, subtle and deliberate, sending it staggering backward. Its gold eyes didn't leave mine. Snow outside rustled, reinforcements circling, calculating, measuring, waiting for weakness. The outsider wolf coughed again, a faint rasp, warning and encouragement tangled. "She ready stronger than expected," I exhaled slowly, muscles taut. My wolf hummed beneath my skin, coiling, listening to the rhythm of the predator's breath, the vibration in its claws, the sway of its body. Each motion a question, each shift a challenge. Cade mirrored my stance, wolf coiling beside mine. "Move with me," he whispered, voice tethering instinct. "Every action counts, anticipate." The predator crouched, weight shifting, gold eyes narrowing, teeth bared in a slow, measured snarl. Its claws scraped the floor, tiny sparks of frost glinting with the force of the pressure. The room shrank around us, tension curling into every corner. I inhaled, wolf coiling fully, claws pressing, senses stretching to the edges of instinct. This was more than survival. It was a test of control, strength, and recognition. The predator assessed me, my bond with Cade and the raw potential coiling in both of us. Outside, wind whipped through the broken walls, carrying shadows circling, watching. The outsider wolf rasped again, hazel gold eyes sharp. "It chooses or destroys." The predator shifted, crouched, body coiling like liquid steel, muscles tense, eyes fixed. Time narrowed. Every heartbeat, every breath, every motion mattered. And then it moved, silent, swift, and deliberate, aiming not just for the cabin, but for the choice it would force me to make. The predator's movement was liquid, controlled, calculated. Frosted air hissed with every step, claws scraping lightly against splintered wood, yet the pressure it radiated felt like a tidal wave against my chest. My wolf coiled beneath my skin, claws pressing invisibly, muscles taut. Instinct roared, demanding motion, precision, survival. Cade shifted beside me, body low, eyes narrowing. His wolf pressed against mine, a tether and anchor harmonizing with the surge threatening to overwhelm. "Watch its rhythm," he murmured low. "Do not react, anticipate." Reyna darted forward, dagger slicing a line that sent a masked wolf stumbling backward. Marin mirrored her, muscles taut, eyes scanning. Every movement carried weight, every motion mattered. Even they could sense the difference. The predator was older, disciplined, dominant. The outsider wolf coughed, voice rasping but eyes sharp. It chooses, tests, claim. He tilted his head toward the predator. One wrong move, all recognition and warning burned in his gaze. I inhaled sharply, frost biting my throat, copper tang of old blood lingering. My wolf pressed outward, claws beneath skin, muscles coiling, senses stretched. Every heartbeat, every breath, every subtle twitch of the predator was a question I had to answer instinctively. The predator crouched slightly, tail flicking, eyes gold and unreadable. Growl low, rolling through the floor, vibrating into every corner. Not attacking yet, but the tension pressed like steel, assessing, calculating. Cade's hand brushed mine, brief grounding. Focus! Predict, don't react, he whispered. His wolf pressed, coiling, guiding my instincts. I shifted weight subtly, claws pressing beneath skin, responding to the predator's rhythm. The first masked wolf outside tested the line, and the predator's head flicked, subtle, precise. The intruder stumbled back, its instinct acknowledging the predator's dominance. Snow rustled outside. Shadows moved, circling, reinforcements watching, measuring, waiting for weakness. The outsider wolf rasped again, warning tangled with encouragement. She, ready, stronger than expected. I exhaled, muscles taut, wolf humming beneath my skin. Every motion measured, precise. The predator assessed me, Cade, and the potential in our bond. Its growl rolled again, heavier, resonant. Each movement a question, each shift a test. Cade mirrored my stance, wolf coiled beside mine. Every second counts, he murmured. Read it, control it, survive. The predator crouched, muscles coiling like liquid steel, gold eyes narrowing. Its claws scraped the floor, sparks of frost glinting as tension pressed outward, a question demanding an answer. I inhaled, wolf coiling fully, claws pressing beneath my skin, senses stretching to the edge. Outside, wind whipped through the cabin, shadows circling, listening. The outsider wolf rasped again, hazel gold eyes sharp. It decides, chooses, destroys. The predator shifted its weight, crouched lower, body a lethal coil, eyes fixed on me. Time narrowed, each heartbeat, each breath, each motion sharpened to a point. And then it struck, not blindly, but with a precision that tested everything I was, everything Cade and I had built, and everything the claim would demand. The predator struck with calculated precision, claws scraping the frost-flecked floor. Splintered wood shot outward, jagged shards biting at skin, teeth, and fur. My wolf surged violently beneath my skin, coiling like a spring on the verge of release. Every nerve, every muscle, every instinct screamed in unison. Cade moved as one with me, pivoting, twisting, intercepting the predator's momentum. His silver-marked wrist flashed in the fractured light, a combination of shield and weapon. My wolf pressed against his, anchoring, coiling, controlling the surge threatening to spill over. Don't falter, he murmured low, vibrating through the floor. The large predator adjusted mid-lunge, golden eyes glinting, measuring, testing. Its weight shifted in a controlled rhythm, evaluating every twitch of muscle, every subtle movement in me. My pulse synced with Cade's, instincts harmonizing, wolf pressing outward, ready for the next strike. Reyna's dagger slashed through the air, forcing a masked wolf to stagger backward. Marin mirrored her, body taut, scanning for any breach. Both sensed the predator's dominance, the authority of its presence pressing against the cabin walls, the floor, even the snow outside. The outsider wolf rasped, weak but intent. It tests, not attacks, yet stronger than expected. Recognition and warning burned in his hazel gold eyes. One wrong move, claim wrong all. I inhaled sharply, frost biting my throat, copper tang of old blood filling the air. My wolf hummed beneath my skin, coiling, muscles taut. Each motion precise, deliberate, measured. The predator lunged again, swift, lethal, controlled. Cade twisted fluidly, wolf energy pressing outward, forcing the predator to hesitate. My wolf mirrored his rhythm, pressing subtly, tipping the balance. The masked wolves outside froze, sensing the shift, submission flickering in instinct. The predator's growl rolled low, resonant, authoritative. Its tail flicked, muscles tensing, eyes narrowing. Not just a challenge, an assessment, testing strength, control, and the potential of the bond between Cade and me. I exhaled, claws pressing beneath skin, muscles taut. Every microsecond mattered. Outside, snow rustled, shadows circling, calculating, waiting for weakness. The outsider wolf rasped again, warning and encouragement tangled. She ready, stronger than expected. Cade's hand brushed mine, grounding, tethering, a reminder of control, not impulse. Read it, anticipate, he murmured. His wolf coiled, ready, guiding mine, preparing for the final strike. The predator crouched, body a taut coil, gold eyes locked on mine. Time narrowed, heartbeats stretched, breaths measured. Every motion counted. Every choice held consequence. And then it moved, not blindly, not impulsively, but deliberately, with a precision that would define survival, dominance, and the unspoken claim threading between Cade and me. Claws brushed the floor. The air snapped. Frost sparkled as tension surged. And in that instant, instinct and reality collided. Wolf and human, predator and predator, survival and claim all entwined in a single, explosive heartbeat. The cabin was a storm of motion and instinct. Frosted floorboards groaned under weight, splintered wood glittered with shards of ice, and the predator pressed, gold eyes calculating, muscles coiled like drawn steel. My wolf hummed beneath my skin, a coil of pressure and anticipation. Cade moved beside me, silver-marked wrist glinting as he intercepted another masked wolf attempting to flank. His presence was more than anchor, it was command, a rhythm my wolf synced with instinctively. "Stay with me," he muttered, voice low, resonating through the tension. Raina lunged, dagger slicing, forcing the intruder backward. Marin mirrored her, eyes sharp, every movement measured. Even they sensed the predator's dominance, older, disciplined, and mercilessly precise. The outsider wolf rasped, voice hoarse, eyes still sharp. "It knows tests claim," his warning carried weight. "One wrong choice, all," recognition and dread laced his tone. I inhaled frost-bitten air, metallic tang of blood lingering faintly. My wolf pressed outward, claws beneath my skin, muscles taut, every movement precise, every breath synchronized, every heartbeat counted. The predator crouched, coiled like liquid steel, growl rolling low and authoritative. Its eyes never left mine. Not attacking yet, but the tension pressed like a vice, assessing, calculating. Every instinct, every nerve in my body screamed awareness, anticipation, and readiness. Cade's hand brushed mine briefly, a grounding tether. "Focus. Every motion counts. Predict, don't react," he murmured, wolf coiling beside mine. Outside, shadows shifted. Reinforcements circling, testing, waiting for weakness. The masked wolves hesitated, sensing the surge of dominance within the cabin. The outsider wolf rasped again, weak but urgent. "Stronger, she's stronger than expected." I exhaled slowly, wolf coiling further, muscles taut. The predator lunged not blindly, but calculated, measured, aimed at testing limits, measuring control, dominance, and instinct. Cade twisted fluidly, intercepting, wolf energy pressing outward, forcing hesitation. My wolf mirrored him, pressing subtly, tipping the balance, coiling with anticipation. The masked wolves outside froze, instinctively sensing the shift in dominance. The predator growled, low and resonant, rolling through the floorboards, vibrating into every corner. Its tail flicked, muscles tensing, eyes narrowing, an assessment, not a strike. The cabin seemed to shrink around us. Every breath, every heartbeat, every motion was magnified, weighted, sharpened to a point. I inhaled sharply, senses expanded, claws beneath skin, muscles taut. This was no ordinary battle. This was a test of control, strength, and the unspoken bond threading between Cade and me. Time slowed. Heartbeats stretched. Frosted air hissed with anticipation. And then the predator shifted, body low, coiled, golden eyes fixed, ready to strike with precision that would determine dominance, survival, and the claim that neither Cade nor I could deny. The first contact was about to be made. The predator struck with precise force, claws scraping against frost-laden boards. Wood splintered, flying like shards of ice, and the tension pressed so tightly that even the air seemed to hum. My wolf surged beneath my skin, coiling, muscles taut, instinct slicing through every thought, every breath. Cade twisted fluidly beside me, silver-marked wrist flashing, intercepting a masked wolf attempting to flank. His wolf pressed against mine, anchor, tether, restraint. "Predict! Don't react!" he growled low, voice vibrating through floorboards and bone alike. Raina lunged, dagger cutting a line that sent another intruder staggering. Marin mirrored her, movements taut, scanning every shadow. Even they could sense it, the predator's presence wasn't ordinary. Older, disciplined, dominant, and infinitely patient. The outsider wolf rasped, voice frail but intent. "It tests, not attacks, claim if wrong all." His hazel gold eyes burned recognition and warning. I could feel the weight of his words settling in my bones. I exhaled, wolf coiling tighter, claws pressing beneath skin. Frost and metallic tang filled my senses. Every twitch of the predator's body, every subtle shift in the room became a question my instincts answered with precision. The predator crouched low, coiled like a spring. Gold eyes glimmered in the fractured light, measuring, assessing. Its growl rolled deep, authoritative, vibrating through floor walls, even the shattered snow outside. Not attacking yet, but evaluating, weighing, probing for weakness. Cade's hand brushed mine, grounding, anchoring, tethering the surge within me. "Every motion counts. Control it, anticipate it," he whispered. His wolf pressed beside mine, harmonizing, guiding, restraining. Outside, the snow rustled with shifting shadows. Reinforcements circled, calculating, waiting for any crack. The masked wolves hesitated, sensing the predator's dominance, the presence pressing through the cabin, folding around every breath. The predator shifted again, tail flicking, muscles coiled, gold eyes narrowing. Time contracted, heartbeat and breath stretching to the limit. Every instinct screamed, every muscle twitched. Survival depended on precision, anticipation, control, and the subtle, unspoken bond threading between Cade and me. I inhaled sharply, claws pressing beneath skin, wolf humming, ready. The predator lunged, not blindly, but deliberately, with a force that tested every limit I had learned to control, every second of training, every instinct sharpened by fire, frost, and fear. Cade twisted with me, wolf energy pressing outward, tipping balance, creating the subtlest counterforce. My wolf mirrored him, harmonizing, coiling, ready to release fully. The predator growled low, resonant, a rolling vibration pressing against walls, floor, and bone. Every motion a question, every strike a probe. The cabin shrank with tension. Breath caught, muscles coiled, instincts pressed like steel wires. The outsider wolf rasped again, faint but urgent. "It decides, chooses, or destroys," time narrowed. Frosted air bit at my lungs. Shadows waited, eyes gleaming. Every second held consequence. Every motion carried weight. And then, the predator struck, claws low, deliberate, aimed with precision that would determine survival, dominance, and the bond threading between Cade and me. The collision of instincts, steel and wolf energy ignited the cabin, and in that instant nothing would remain the same. The predator collided with my wolf in a shuddering surge of raw power. Wood splintered beneath the impact, frost flying like glass shards, and my claws bit into the floor instinctively, muscles taut, coiled, ready. Every nerve burned, every breath stretched thin. My wolf hummed, pressing outward, a living instrument of anticipation and precision. Cade twisted beside me, blocking a strike meant for me, his silver-marked wrist catching the light as he absorbed the impact. His wolf coiled, mirrored mine, anchoring, tethering. "Hold it, read it, anticipate it," he murmured low, voice vibrating through the tension like a pulse. Raina ducked beneath a swipe from a masked wolf, dagger slicing an arc of frost that sent the intruder stumbling. Marin flanked her, muscles tight, eyes scanning. The predator didn't relent, it measured, it tested, it pressed, an embodiment of dominance older than the pack itself. The outsider wolf rasped, barely audible. "It chooses, tests if claim, wrong all." His hazel gold eyes glimmered with fear and recognition. Every syllable weighed, layered with unspoken consequences. I inhaled, wolf coiling tighter beneath my skin, claws pressing beneath, muscles ready. Frost and metallic tang filled the air. Every twitch, every breath, every flicker of the predator's movement became a puzzle my instincts answered. The predator crouched, body a taut coil, eyes fixed, gold and unyielding. Growl low, authoritative, rolling through the floor, pressing against the walls. Not yet attacking, but assessing, evaluating, probing. Cade's hand brushed mine briefly, tethering me to precision and control. "Do not falter," he whispered. Wolf and human aligned, instincts coiled in perfect harmony. Outside, shadows shifted, reinforcements circling, calculating, waiting. The masked wolves froze, sensing dominance pressing through the cabin walls. The outsider wolf rasped again, faint but urgent. "She's stronger than expected." The predator shifted again, coiling like liquid steel, eyes narrowing, body ready to strike with precision. Time contracted, heartbeat and breath elongated. Every instinct, every muscle, every thought sharpened. Survival depended on alignment, anticipation, control, and the bond threading between Cade and me. I exhaled sharply, claws pressing beneath skin, wolf humming. The The predator lunged not blindly but with precision, testing limits, evaluating instinct, strength, and control. Cade twisted, wolf energy pressing outward, tipping balance, harmonizing with mine. My wolf mirrored him, coiling, pressing, ready to release fully. The predator growled, deep, resonant, rolling through the floorboards, vibrating through bone. Every movement a question, every strike a probe, every glance a measurement. The outsider wolf rasped again, warning and encouragement tangled. It decides, chooses, or destroys. Time narrowed. Frosted air bit at my lungs. Shadows pressed closer. Every second carried consequence. Every motion held weight. And then, instinct collided with reality. Wolf and human, predator and predator, survival and dominance fused in a heartbeat that would echo beyond the cabin walls. The cabin exploded with motion, and in that instant, nothing would remain the same. The cabin shuddered under the weight of movement, claws scraping, boots thudding, and the predator pressing, gold eyes glinting with an almost cruel patience. My wolf hummed beneath my skin, coiled tight, muscles tense, senses alive to every detail. Cade shifted beside me, low stance, wrist marked in silver catching fractured light. His wolf pressed against mine, tethering, guiding, anchoring. "Every motion counts. Hold it steady," he murmured, voice a low vibration that threaded into my bones. Reyna and Marin moved as one, daggers and blades cutting arcs through shadowed air. Even trained, experienced, they faltered under the weight of dominance pressing into every corner. Frosted breath curled around the cabin, air thick with the metallic tang of past and present clashes. The outsider wolf coughed, voice rough but eyes bright, filled with urgency. "It tests, chooses, claim wrong destruction," recognition laced with warning, every syllable pressed like ice into my spine. I exhaled, muscles coiled, claws pressing beneath skin. Every nerve, every instinct stretched. Frost bit my lungs, scent of iron filling my senses. The predator shifted, a coiled spring of muscle, eyes locking on mine with a depth that spoke of centuries of dominance. Cade's hand brushed mine, grounding, tethering, silent affirmation. "Predict, don't react, we move as one," he whispered. His wolf pressed outward, harmonizing with mine. Outside, shadows shifted. Reinforcements circled, waiting for the slightest weakness. The masked wolves froze, sensing the surge of dominance emanating from within the cabin. The outsider wolf rasped again. "Stronger, she." Ready than expected, the predator crouched, muscles taut, tail flicking subtly. Its growl rolled low, resonant, pressing against walls, floor, bone. Not an immediate strike, but an assessment, a challenge, a test of control, strength, and recognition. I inhaled sharply, claws pressing, muscles taut. Every micro movement became a signal, every twitch of instinct an answer. The predator lunged with lethal precision, aimed at testing everything I had learned, every second of instinct, every thread of bond I shared with Cade. Cade twisted fluidly, intercepting the momentum, wolf energy pressing outward, countering the strike. My wolf mirrored him, coiling, pressing, tension sharpening, ready to release. The predator's growl rolled deep, vibrating the cabin. Every strike, every glance, every motion became a silent conversation of dominance, strength, and claim. The outsider wolf rasped again, faint but insistent. "It decides, chooses, survives, or destroys." Time narrowed. Frosted air hissed against lungs. Shadows pressed in. Every heartbeat, every breath, every motion carried consequence. And then everything crystallized. The predator lunged fully, claws extended, gold eyes blazing, locking with mine in a moment that would define survival, dominance, and the unspoken bond threading between Cade and me. The first contact was imminent. The cabin, the snow, the shadows, all held their breath. The predator struck, claws cutting through the air, pressure vibrating through floorboards. Frosted shards scattered, reflecting fractured light across tense, coiled bodies. My wolf surged beneath my skin, muscles taut, claws pressing, instincts humming. Every nerve fired, every thought sharpened, every heartbeat measured. Cade pivoted beside me, wrist marked in silver flashing as he intercepted a swipe aimed at my side. His wolf coiled in perfect synchronization with mine, tethering, guiding, amplifying, and controlling the surge within me. "Hold it," he murmured, low, voice vibrating like the pulse of the cabin itself. Reyna and Marin moved as one, blades carving precise arcs through shadow and air. Even their trained experience trembled under the predator's dominance, the sheer patience, precision, and authority pressing against every wall and floorboard. The outsider wolf rasped, voice weak but urgent. "It tests, decides." If claim, wrong all. His hazel gold eyes burned with recognition and dread, warning threading through every word. I inhaled sharply, frost biting my throat, copper tang of old blood mixing with the icy air. My wolf coiled fully beneath skin, claws pressing, muscles taut. The predator crouched, a lethal spring, gold eyes locked on mine, assessing, weighing, calculating. Its growl rolled low, authoritative, vibrating through every inch of the cabin. Cade's hand brushed mine briefly, grounding, anchoring, tethering. "Predict, don't react, move as one," he whispered. His wolf pressed outward, harmonizing with mine, coiling like a living instrument of anticipation. Outside, snow shifted, shadows circling, reinforcements waiting. The masked wolves froze, sensing the surge of dominance inside. The outsider wolf rasped again. Stronger, she ready than expected. The predator lunged again, deliberate, precise. Every strike, every movement, every glance a measure of dominance, strength, and recognition. My wolf mirrored Cade's coiled rhythm, pressing, countering, ready to release fully. Frosted air hissed between strikes. Wood groaned beneath claws. My pulse synced with Cade's. Every movement was a dialogue of instinct, a silent negotiation with the predator. Every second carried consequence, every breath a measure of survival. The growl rolled again, resonant, pressing through walls, floor, bone. It was no longer just testing. It was gauging control, evaluating our bond, and silently questioning claim. I exhaled sharply, claws pressing beneath skin, muscles taut. The predator lunged one final time, gold eyes fixed, teeth bared. It was the culmination of centuries of dominance, instinct, and test. Time narrowed. Frosted air bit at my lungs. Shadows pressed closer. The cabin seemed impossibly small. And then impact. Wolf and predator collided fully, claws, teeth, and instinct all in motion. The room exploded with motion, tension, and the hum of survival. Every nerve screamed. Every instinct pressed outward. Every heartbeat counted. The first contact had been made. The predator struck with full intent, claws slashing, muscles coiled, gold eyes fixed. Frost and splintered wood scattered, flying like frozen shards in the cabin's frozen air. My wolf surged beneath my skin, a coiled storm, claws pressing, muscles taut, instincts screaming in rhythm with Cade's. Cade twisted fluidly, intercepting, wolf energy pressing outward, tipping balance, anchoring, controlling. His silver-marked wrist glinted with authority, a tether of dominance and protection. "Stay with me," he whispered low, vibrating through the tension. "Do not let it break the rhythm." Reyna and Marin moved with precision, blades cutting arcs of shadow and frost. Every strike, every movement, every motion of the predator was mirrored, countered, anticipated. Even their seasoned instincts were stretched thin beneath the presence pressing into the cabin. The outsider wolf coughed, voice rasping, eyes sharp. "It tests, decides, claim right, survives." His warning carried weight, urgency, recognition. The predator was older, stronger, and it understood the consequences if the wrong move was made. I inhaled sharply, frost biting my lungs, metallic tang in the air. My wolf hummed beneath my skin, coiling tighter. Every twitch, every subtle breath of the predator became a question my instincts answered. Gold eyes locked with mine, an unspoken duel, a silent recognition of potential, bond, and control. Cade's hand brushed mine briefly, grounding, tethering. "Every motion counts. Move as one," he whispered. My wolf mirrored his, harmonizing, pressing outward, ready to release fully. The predator lunged and we met it head-on. Claws collided with claws, fangs snapping, wolf energy clashing in a heartbeat that stretched like eternity. The cabin shook, wood groaning under power, frost spiraling in arcs, shadows spinning. I felt the predator hesitate, even for a heartbeat. A recognition, subtle and primal, of the bond threading between Cade and me. My wolf roared beneath my skin, pressing outward with every ounce of instinct, muscle, and intent. Cade moved with me, every twist, every block, every press a silent conversation. The predator growled low, rolling through the cabin, pressing against floor, wall, and bone, testing dominance one final time. Then it stopped. Gold eyes softened, just enough for instinct to recognize choice, submission, acknowledgement. My wolf exhaled in a low hum, coiling gently, tension easing. Cade's hand brushed mine, grounding, steadying. Outside, snow stirred. Shadows shifted. The masked wolves froze, sensing the shift in dominance, the unspoken claim sealed by survival, control, and instinct. The outsider wolf rasped one last time, eyes bright. "It recognizes claim right, survives." I inhaled slowly, claws retracting beneath skin, muscles uncoiling. Frosted air hissed softly. My pulse aligned with Cade's, wolf and human intertwined, dominance and survival acknowledged, claim secured. Reyna and Marin exhaled, blades lowering, tension easing. The predator had tested, measured, and chosen. We had survived, not because of raw strength alone, but because bond, instinct, and control had harmonized. I glanced at Cade, silver wrist gleaming, eyes locking with mine. A faint pulse of understanding, a tether of unspoken promise ran through us. The claim, the bond, was no longer a threat. It was ours, recognized, undeniable. The outsider wolf coughed lightly, but a faint smile touched his lips. The shadows outside receded, the night's pressure easing into quiet, controlled frost. For the first time in years, I felt it, the wolf inside me at peace, coiled but safe, harmonized with Cade. Survival, dominance, and claim intertwined into a singular heartbeat. The cabin was quiet now, the storm spent, snow drifting like silent witnesses. And in that quiet, in the frozen aftermath, I realized we had not just survived. We had been chosen, together.